Yeah. All right, Betty, what's next?
Heidi, I think. So Heidi, I don't know what these letters mean. RSW Ontario. It doesn't matter. Okay. And BC registered social worker, these words I understand, and psychotherapist, working on growing my virtual private practice as a therapist. I'm good at therapy, but not marketing, and wish to grow my practice. Looking for any tips. Thanks in advance.
Okay. Betty, on my website, I think if you just search psychotherapist in the search bar on my website, there's a article called Marketing for Psychotherapists. Could be just perfect. So that's the main thing. But if I were a psychotherapist, and also, Betty, there's also a, if you search on YouTube, just Tad Hargrave therapist or therapy, I think there's a video I did recently, particularly about like my best marketing advice for therapists, something like that. But here's the main thing I would recommend if you're a therapist wanting to grow is to do talks. How do you feel about public speaking, Heidi?
I suck at it. I tried to record some videos.
Yeah.
And when I looked at them, I was very disappointed, and I shared them with friends for feedback, and it wasn't good.
How do you feel about speaking like in public in front of a group, though?
In public in front of a group is okay.
Okay. So this is something I would recommend. Is now what are within therapy, and when you went to school, what were the topics that like lit you up the most, and what are the things that you find yourself thinking about and shoehorning into every conversation you can around psychology? Like, what are you fascinated by these days?
Right. I mean, my focus has mostly been trauma therapy, because I believe that most things that people are looking for have some sort of root in trauma. Yeah. In terms of what they're coming to therapy for. And I also look at oppression-based trauma, so like racial trauma, as well as trauma from like sexual violence, domestic violence, homophobia, transphobia, etc. So kind of merging the social justice and mental health approach.
Amazing. So this is what I would recommend then, is I would do, if you're up for it, a series of talks about therapy meets social justice. Now, this is the kind of thing that you might, there's a few models here, but you might do a different topic. So it sounds like I'm going against what I just said, but you might have like a series where every month you just talk about a different aspect of how these things go together. You might decide there's a few and you repeat them, but yeah, like what does mental health and social justice, what do they have to do with each other? What does our psychological well-being and social justice, how do those merge? So I might just suggest coming up with a list of topics. And there's a few things you can do with this. One, you could give a talk and you just promote it through all the ways, we talked about that you could promote things, and you just start sharing it and you become known for that. You develop a reputation around that. One of the most important questions you can ask for everybody in terms of niching is, who's the community you want to be adopted by? So my friend Parneet Chauhan is in Montreal. She's a queer woman of color from Edmonton, moved to Montreal, did her psychology degree somewhere there. And she was very into that community. I think also the kink and poly. Anyway, so she was very connected. And when she hung out her shingle, she was just full almost overnight, because so many people were like, oh, a psychologist that gets my politics. Perfect. So it's very helpful for us to all think about, who's the community I would like to be adopted by. And then, so then also you might think that maybe there might be hubs within the community that would host you to come in and do a talk. Maybe there are organizations or groups or various movements that might, want you to come in and talk about race-based depression and different kinds of trauma and patriarchy, all that kind of stuff, and how that relates to psychology and how we're doing. Yeah, and you share your thoughts and opinions on this. And the other is you can start writing articles about it, you know, and share those in whatever hubs are most relevant. Certainly on your own Facebook, that's great. Maybe you start a Substack, could be great. Maybe you there's a local newsletter or Facebook. You can start to share these things around. And you could also, if I were you, I'd be tying the articles into the talks. So you write an article, and it's like, if you like what you heard in this article, I'm doing a larger conversation at this date and time. Please come and, you know, enjoy. But it's so much of it is the need for people to, one, especially God with the therapist, to meet us. They've got to get some sense of us. It's such a painful fucking process getting a therapist, because you don't know who they are and what their vibe is and how you feel. No videos, sometimes no photos on their website. So the more they can get to meet you, get a sense of your vibe, and also get a sense of your perspective, then it becomes very easy. Then it's just, look, if you would like to work with me as a therapist, I mean, I'm happy to talk. I'm happy to stick around and just answer any questions you have. But also, you can just email me. Here's my website. You can check it out, etc. Do you have a website?
I do. It's really terrible. I have a Psychology Today profile and I have a website. I can
you put the website in the chat if you're open for some reflection?
I need some, I think.
Yeah. By the way, if you feel weird, like your website's terrible, of course it's you. I mean, you're so close to your own situation. We're the worst people at marketing ourselves. Always. You know, the cobbler always has the worst shoes. The tailor has the worst clothes. It's just a classic human trope that we're no good at this. Okay, so we're gonna take a gander here. One sec. Beautiful. Okay, so virtual anti-oppressive trauma-informed counseling, consulting, and yoga. First of all, great. What's great about this is we just immediately get a sense of the pastiche, the mosaic of the work, the Venn diagram. Yeah, we start to see. There you are. Yeah, let's go anti-oppressive trauma-informed. And now, do you have a blog or anything here?
I don't.
Okay, I would recommend, do you know what Substack is?
No, but I can look into it.
Yeah, so substack.com. It's kind of like medium.com, similar deal. Medium so either one could work. I just have used Substack. But it's a way that people can find you. It's a way you can write articles and share them. And I would just urge everybody to consider just sharing our point of view more. And this is one way to do it. So I've got, where's my,
I was working on submitting an article to maybe Psychology Today to see if I could get published.
Also great. Yes, my gosh. All of the above. But yeah, so this is I've got a Substack here, you know. So then you can share these, and it's great because then also, you know, you're at a networking event or you're talking with somebody and they say something, you're like, I wrote an article just about that thing. When I get home, I'll send it to you. And this starts in a generosity-based way. You know, you're sharing something useful for them. And then they're like, oh, there's more articles by this person. And then they can read it. I can't tell you how many people I've had who said, Tad, I've been following you for years. And now I'm here to pay you money. No selling involved. They just showed up wanting to pay. Why? Because there is such a thing as right timing, hey? We all have things like a workshop we want to go to. And if the timing were right, if that trainer or teacher were coming to town, that author, and we could go see them speak, we'd show up. But timing, they're not here, or we're just really busy and but it's not like we're saying no to it. It's a hard yes, but timing, yeah. I just see Amber said, oh, you said, I got all my initial coaching clients because they've been reading my blog for years. Yeah, this is the long game. The short game is we get in front of an audience and we make an offer. We say, well, here's this thing and, here's the deal with it. Here's who it's for and not for. Here's what it is. Here's what it isn't. Let me know. That's more the short game. But the long game is we just share our point of view a lot. And then people follow and they share it. And then, of course, once in a while, we make an offer to them. We put some out like, hey, everybody, I have spaces available in my practice, or I'm doing a workshop. I'm doing a retreat. I'm doing a talk on this. Please come. The other thing I might recommend, Heidi, is to email your list of folks, email your clients and say, I'm thinking about doing some talks. And I'm wondering what you want me to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
You've heard me riff on things in sessions. Like, is there something I said that was a real mind bomb for you that you're like, oh, everybody needs to hear this? Or is there kind of a subject matter or a way I come to it? Like, I can't quite figure out what to talk about, and maybe you could help me. Or I'd like to write about things too. And what should I be putting out there? You might find. And the last idea I'll give is as a whole business model. I got to do a video about this so I can stop talking about it. But is the meetup model? Like meetup.com, you can create like a gathering place. So you could create a local meetup that's for people in the social justice scene who also care about mental health. And the basic model is this. It's mostly just hanging out, but you do a 20-minute talk every time. So maybe you give a talk. It's like, here's an approach you can use to deal with trauma. Like today, we're going to talk about shaking, or something. We're going to talk about this tool or this person's work, or here's an idea or perspective. Every time, just a 20-minute talk, that's about it. And then the rest of it is mostly actually just mingling and people getting to be with each other. Because people want this, a chance to be with like-minded people who not just are into social justice, but they also follow Adrienne Marie Brown. They also follow NAP Ministry on Instagram. They also get the need for, etc. And that's a joy to be around like-minded people. So that's free, no charge for that. But you host that and you just start to build a community around it. Second part of it is you have an intro workshop. Now that intro workshop is not so much topic specific like I've been talking about, but that's more like, here's my take. Big picture, 30,000 foot view on therapy, psychology, how it intersects with social justice. And you it's the whole kit and caboodle, the whole enchilada of your point of view, but distilled down to, let's say, an hour to 3 hours. But it's robust. I mean, it's at the end of it, there should be no fuzziness. Everybody's either leaning in or they're leaning out. Nobody's like, I don't understand what she's really about. And this is where you're just opinionated as hell. This is what I think is bullshit in psychology, and this is what I think is true, and yada, yada. And then you share the offer, whatever that is. Now, so again, if you had like a packages type thing, that's where you'd offer that. If you have a larger retreat type thing, if you had a membership, whatever it is, and if it's just drop-in sessions, you can also talk about that formally too. And so you can say, look, so now you know my whole point of view. If you'd like to work with me, let me just go over a bit about me or any other psychologist. Let me just sort of go over the process there, and answer any questions that you have, because I'm happy to. Don't be easy on me. Give me the yeah buts, push back. I'd love to hear your concerns and your questions. And then just here's the rates. Here's how much it costs. This is the deal. And if you'd like to book, this is what you do. And that can be like, here's a card, but here's a URL to go to. Here's where you'd find it on my website to sign up. And then I don't think you had it on your website. Do you have a place where people can automatically sign up and book a session?
I don't. I just have that hyperlinked.
Okay. Let me just double check here, screenshot. So that's that's not it. Go back.
Let me just see.
There we go. Hyperlinked here. Okay, so
that's a good question, actually. I'm looking at it now and I'm trying to remember. Oh, it's a Jane app. Booked today via Heidi Meta@janeapp.com.
Okay, so they would Okay, so that's a concern.
Oh,
That's what
wow.
comes up for me.
Okay.
Okay, so and what does Jane app do? Is that a booking software?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. That's fine. So as long as you can give them that step, and here's how you do it. So those are all my thoughts. And of course, there have been some links put in. Feel free to check out those. And there you go.
Thank you.